Welcome everyone to the online version of the Learn to Burn 1 class. I'm your host, Morgan Better, and today we're going to be talking with Allison Menifee about what to expect after the burn. Allison is a farm bill biologist with Quail Forever in Arkansas, and she's based out of the Hazen office. All right, Allison, well, thank you so much for joining us today, and I will let you get started on your video.
Thanks, Morgan. So you've learned about fire ecology, equipment that you're going to need for burning, and what to do the day of the burn. So what do you do next? What's your next step here? Well, one of the most beneficial things you can do is to reach out and get help from an Arkansas Game and Fish private land biologist, a Quail Forever farm bill biologist, or a forester with the Arkansas Forestry Division. They can help you plan out a burn, as well as make sure your fire breaks are sufficient before burning, but also help you interpret weather conditions for the burn to make sure you're within some of those safety guidelines. And they can also help you with deciding when to burn to complete your property objectives. You'll want to burn at different times in the year, depending on what plant composition you're trying to achieve and what your management goals are. So before you do anything, please reach out to one of us and we'd be more than happy to assist you. So one of the resources available to you is a prescribed burn association, or what we often refer to as a PBA. These are organizations that are made up of landowners that all have the same goals in mind and really help each other out burning on each other's properties. This gives you an opportunity to connect with some like-minded people in your area, and it gives you extra hands the day of the actual burn. Now, these PBAs are supported and trained by agencies, but ultimately they're run by landowners like you guys themselves. So we're fortunate that our PBAs are able to secure an equipment trailer through agency grants, and any member can check one of these out. And basically, these trailers have everything you need in it to complete a burn on your own. And this includes your fire clothing, helmets, water tanks, drip torches. And this PBA model is a new thing for us here in Arkansas. But right now, there are two PBAs in the state. One is located in central Arkansas, and the other one is in north central Arkansas. And we have more than enough demand for these in the state, and we'd really love to start seeing more of these. So please reach out to Maya Larson or Mike Kelly if you're interested in getting involved with one of these existing PBAs. Or you can reach out to any local biologist if you're interested in potentially getting one started in your area. We'd really love to see more of these pop up across the state. Now, another form of help out there for you is financial. We're going to touch base on a couple different government funding programs, but we do want to be honest about what these are and what they're not. These programs help fund some of those big ticket habitat improvements to set up a property so the landowner can easily manage it. But the ultimate goal here is for the landowner to take the reins on their own. There's no program that's going to pay you for long-term management indefinitely, such as regular burning that you'll need to do every 2, 3, 4 years, whatever it may be. So one of the good tools we have is our Environmental Quality Incentives Program, also commonly known as EQIP. This is a component of the Farm Bill administered by the Natural Resource Conservation Service. And there's a bunch of different practices to choose from, really about a couple hundred. And these include cost assistance for native wildflower plantings, burning, fire breaks, tree removal. And so it's really best to start out with the management plan from a biologist or a forester, and then take that plan into NRCS to see what practices would be a good fit for your long-term goals. Now, another great tool is the Acres to Wildlife program. This is an Arkansas Game and Fish program that provides free seed and herbicide to restore old fescue and Bermuda fields into prairie habitat for quail. Utilizing this program is a great way to complete some of those smaller projects that are between 5 and 40 acres. And the great thing about this program is that unlike our NRCS programs, no money changes hands and the application process is much quicker and much less competitive. So Arkansas Game and Fish also provides burning assistance to some landowners as a teaching tool. Of course, they can't help every single landowner, and so projects are done on a priority basis. And typically, they'll conduct 2 or 3 burns with the landowner. And what they're trying to do here is pretty much just trying to teach you how to burn correctly so that you can learn to be able to do it on your own in the future without assistance. So say you don't want to go through a program. That's totally fine, and burning on your own is definitely an option. Of course, everyone has their own comfort level with burning, and it's not for everyone. But we've had a lot of people safely conduct burns on their own after attending this class and others like it, and we're here to help you with that as well. We can come out to your property and help you plan how and when to conduct the burn, help you keep an eye on the weather to make sure you're burning on a good, safe day, and help you write a burn plan as a guideline for you to follow to make sure you're achieving your objectives. On a good day, there'll typically be a couple people called to make sure it's an okay day for them to burn. And that's great. We're here to help you with all of this, so please be sure to reach out. If you do plan on burning on your own, you'll need to make sure to invest in a drip torch, a couple fire rakes, and a good spray tank. And then you're ready to take on some small burns. It really wouldn't be a bad idea to just start with a couple acres so you can see how that fire is going to react and really understand how that fire is going to move. And then you can add on more acreage as you feel more comfortable. You don't really want to start off immediately burning 300 acres by yourself if you've never done a prescribed burn before. And don't hesitate to reach out to your friends or your neighbors for help on the day of the burn. They're usually pretty happy to help, and a lot of time they're going to show up anyway just to check out what's going on. Now, hiring someone to conduct your burns for you is also an option. And this is really a good option if you don't feel comfortable burning on your own, or maybe you don't have the time or physical capabilities to get a good burn in. There are many companies in the state that do this, and you're typically going to look at prices in the $30 to $45 range per acre. And if you consider that you're only going to need to do this every 3 years or so, 10 to 15 bucks an acre per year is much less than you would spend bush hogging. If you do choose to go this route, make sure you ask for a copy of a vendor's insurance certificate, and don't be afraid to ask for and call some of those references of people they've worked with in the past. You want to make sure you're getting someone who really knows what they're doing and that you want to work with. So another resource for you is a Learn to Burn 2 class. And this is really just a follow-up to this class that will go deeper into how to interpret the weather and teach you how to write burn plans and conduct a burn, including a student-led burn. And if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, you can add yourself to that waiting list using that Google Doc form link embedded in the presentation there. So if you want to reach out to any of us, and I certainly would encourage you to do so, this is the map of the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission private lands biologist and their contact information. Each one covers a specific area, so just find the one that covers your county and they can help you out. If you're not in Arkansas, you can just go to your state's Wildlife Division website, and there's usually a section that shows what biologist covers what area. And I would also encourage you to reach out to your local Quail Forever biologist as well. Farm bill biologists are actually not limited to the counties listed. So if your county isn't highlighted, no worries, just contact the biologist closest to where your property is located and they'll be happy to help you out. We have farm bill biologists in 30 states, and you can find that information on their website. If you're interested in pursuing an NRCS program, these are definitely the folks you'll want to get plugged in with. And with that, I'd like to thank all you guys for tuning in wherever you may be watching from, and I'll go ahead and take a couple of questions from Morgan.
Good deal, Allison. That was good. Thank you. That was good information. And this is actually the last video of the series. So if y'all, whoever's watching, y'all made it through, made it to the end, good deal. Okay. So a question that I have for you, Allison, you touched on it a little bit in the beginning, but after we do, like say the first burn for a landowner, for landowners interested in doing their own burn, kind of what is the typical rotation for the next burn? How many years do you need to wait?
So that's really going to depend on what you're burning. If you're burning a prairie, you're probably going to be burning that every 2 or 3 years to get rid of some of that dead material and promote more of our wildflower growth, versus if you're burning bottom hardwood stuff, they're not going to be burning that as often, maybe every 3, 4, 5 years. So really it's also going to depend on top of that on what kind of plant composition and structure you have out there at the property. So after your first burn, I definitely would encourage you to keep in touch with any of our biologists, and they'd be happy to go out and take a look with you and give you some more personal recommendations.
Another question that we may, get, Allison, is also, should we burn all during like the same season each time we burn, or should we mix it up?
So we really try to kind of switch it up. If you have a lot of dead grass material that's really going to choke out your native forest from popping up, we'll typically try to burn in the fall or winter, just to remove that dead material. Versus if you're doing a native grass planting, you'll probably want to burn more in the spring and growing season. That way you're promoting more of your grasses versus your wildflowers and your forbs that wouldn't be as beneficial to you on a cattle operation.
Okay, yep, makes sense. And landowners that are interested in doing any of the cost share programs with the NRCS, who should they reach out to for that?
Best bet there would probably be to reach out to your Quail Forever biologist or your NRCS office directly.
Okay. Yeah, and the nice thing with the Quail Forever biologist is that, we can help with the NRCS programs and also Acres for Wildlife. We can kind of be in between for both, which is great. But yeah, I think at this time, Allison, that's all the questions that I have. But before we go real quick, I just want to remind everyone that's watching, all these Learn to Burn videos will be available online, and you will be able to find them either on the Quail Forever Arkansas Facebook page or our YouTube channel, and they should be available on the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission's social media platforms as well. And if you have any questions, always feel free to reach out to any of their private lands biologists or the Quail Forever Farm Bill biologist. We're always happy to help. And with that, I will say goodbye and thank you so much for watching.